Hi, it's Michelle from Psychology to Succeed here, and we are on Wednesday of Mental Health Awareness Week, where I'm talking about kindness in sport and how actually understanding it and using it can help your sports performance. So, today is all about coaching with kindness. And as I talk about this, I actually mean both our internal coach, because actually, let's face it, as sports performance, we're with ourselves all of the time, and as well as having external coaches who may be with us for an hour, a couple of hours a week. But actually, the principles here apply to both. And the reason for that is because, as wonderful and amazing as the human brain is, it's actually not that good at distinguishing between what we are imagining inside our heads or saying to ourselves inside our heads and what is happening externally, what somebody else is saying to us. So, actually, we do want to develop that internal coach dialogue because we actually respond to it in the same way as we would an external coach. So, really important to appreciate that. And so, what we want to do is be able to use all the right phrases to help coach us through our performances, our events, our training. And a good coach will adapt their language and what they need to say to whichever system the athlete needs to hear. So there may be times they need like a bit of chimp motivation, not often, because often that can chip away at our self-confidence and make us want to back off, but occasionally a bit of sort of chimp language, sort of from the threat system, can be helpful. More often, it's our entrepreneur that we want to stimulate. We want that drive system, that sort of curiosity, that motivation, that sense that we're going to get a reward if we do something. So coaches often talk in this way. But then there are also times that we want to be coached from a monk perspective, so where we need some compassion and we need kindness to sort of help us with a particular situation that we're facing, be it a setback, a mistake, injury, or just actually the words that we need to hear to build our self-esteem and our confidence as an athlete. And a good coach will dance between those systems depending on what we need. And internally, we need to be able to do that as well. And it tends to be the monk system that people find most challenging because we're not always naturally kind and compassionate to ourselves. So, the thing couple of things to think about here is that when you are wanting to push yourself and give yourself confidence and motivation, it's good to use phrases using the word you. So it's almost like somebody else, that external coach, is talking to you. So things like, you're doing great, you can do this, you've got this, you phrases are heard by the monk system of the brain as if they're coming from somebody else. So they tend to sit well with us. So they're quite good if we want something positive, if we want something motivational. They tend to sit better coming from somebody else, even if it's in our own head. The other side of this, though, is that if we think back to the definition of compassion that we talked about on Monday, is that motivation to alleviate distress. So, kindness and compassion is also about having the confidence to say some stuff that can be difficult. And in sport, that's really important because as a coach, internal and external, we sometimes need to have a chat with ourselves about maybe things that we need to change in our training, maybe new things that we need to learn, things that maybe we need to develop. And so, because we wouldn't want to just give positive phrases if somebody's repeatedly doing the same thing again and again that we know is going to lead to injury, for example. And on some level, we might know that in ourselves. We might know that we're neglecting perhaps our strength training, and that if we keep running the distances that we're running without doing any strength training, we might be setting ourselves up for an injury. So, how to coach ourselves with kindness to help motivate us to do that work is really important. And that's where I phrases come in. So, again, it's as if somebody else is talking to us, as if an external coach is talking to us. We might say something like, I'm really concerned about the lack of strength training, and I'm worried about you injuring yourself. The reason that sits better is because we hear it as if somebody else is saying that to us, rather than you phrases. So, you're not doing enough strength training, you're going to injure yourself. That sort of phrasing actually stimulates our chimp system and is perceived by the brain as threatening and is not going to be motivating. We're actually going to tend to back off. We're going to be less likely to engage in the thing that we need to do. So if we take the stance of saying, I'm worried, I'm concerned, you're going to hurt yourself, I'm concerned about your strength training, it's coming as if from somebody else, and we're actually going to be more likely to hear that from the monk part of our brain, which is going to actually take that on board and help generate the motivation, which will come from our entrepreneur system, to act on it, rather than the backing off of the chimp system where it's in the more accusatory you type language. So that difference, so using you phrases for positives, motivation, using I phrases for where there's a concern and there's some constructive feedback that needs to be given. So adapting your language so the monk hears it rather than any of the other systems can really, again, help us internally coach ourselves as well as externally coach people as well. So I hope that's been helpful. If you have any questions, please do comment below. Tomorrow I will be talking about kindness in competition. So how to think about the monk system when we're actually in the moment and competing. So I look forward to seeing you then. For now, have a lovely day and keep being kind. Take care. Bye bye.